What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and a little bit unexpected today, Apple released iOS 10 Beta 5. As far as all of the betas go, this is probably the smallest, and I was able to still find over 20 features and changes in this release. So I wanted to share those with you, and I find it kind of interesting that Apple changes their release schedule for iOS 10. So they started with 3 weeks between Beta 1 and Beta 2, then it was 2 weeks, and now it's a 1 week difference from Beta 4 to Beta 5. So I'm curious to see if Apple's going to keep that up with the Beta 6, Beta 7, and so on. But what's certain is that they're actually really trying to get all of the bugs and everything ironed out before final release just later next month. So the actual update comes in at about 350 megabytes for people that are on Beta 4, and you guys can go ahead and update over the air. So let's go ahead and get into the features and changes, and I'm going to show you over 20 that I found. And the very first thing you'll notice using iOS 10 Beta 5 is the once again changed lock sound. So listen to this. Sounds like a door closing. I'm going to do it a couple times for you. And compared to the old one, that's this one right here. I honestly don't know how I feel about that, so here's both of them. So definitely sounds like a door closing. Very interesting change. Now with iOS 10 Beta 5 on the left, you guys will notice that on the lock screen, accessing the camera is actually easier on iOS 10 Beta 5. With one little swipe, you can go ahead and trigger the camera, whereas on iOS 10 Beta 4, for some reason, it snags. So it's certainly easier to access the camera from the lock screen. When unlocking your device, you'll notice that the animation is a little bit quicker on iOS 10 Beta 5 on the left. So as soon as I let this go, you'll notice it's in through faster than it is on Beta 4. Same thing with Touch ID, however, it's just easier to see with the passcode. So if I go ahead and put these in right here, you'll notice it does let you in a little bit faster. And by now, I'm sure you guys have noticed Apple's been playing around a lot with the sound with iOS 10. Now in this latest beta, the actual keyboard clicks are a little bit louder, and it's going to be very hard to catch, but here's Beta 4 and Beta 5. So it almost sounds as if the tone is a little bit deeper, but that's not the case. These sounds are just a little bit louder when clicking on iOS 10 Beta 5. The moisture indicator screen on iOS 10 Beta 5 is a little bit different. So if I go ahead and get my connector a little bit wet, you'll notice that it's a little bit different now. Previously, it did look like this, and now there is a slider for you to go ahead and dismiss it with a new iconography right there. In the control center, there is a new output icon. So if you guys go ahead and have it on the current output device, you'll notice it has changed from the headphones to little AirPlay logo. So it might confuse some people because it looks just like this one, but it now replaces the headphones. And going deeper, the actual icons for the iPhone have once again been replaced from white to a darker iPhone logo. And in settings, the home settings have been completely removed. So this category no longer exists underneath news. Previously, it was a little bit useless, I guess, so that's why they removed it. Now in general, if we go ahead and reset the actual home screen layout on both, you'll notice that Apple did change it in iOS 10 Beta 5. So now the Messages app has been replaced with the Mail app up here, so it's easier to access messages down here with a larger phone. Certainly makes more sense. And the weather has been replaced with Maps, so it's a little bit easier to access that over here when it's not in the middle of your screen. So interesting little change. So in Beta 4, Apple added in our notification center the current date. Now they've tweaked it a little bit, and it's a little bit smaller, so a little bit easier, fits a little bit better with all of the widgets over here. And from the home screen, if you go into the widgets view, it now displays the current date right here. So you no longer have to go all the way up to the notification center in order to see that. You can do that straight from the home screen right now. Also in the widgets view, if a widget has not been updated to support iOS 10, it's going to look like this with a darker background. It's not because it's a third-party widget, just because it hasn't been updated. And iOS 10 Beta 5 welcomes back a little bit of extra storage. So if you guys have a 16 gigabyte device, mine in particular an iPhone 6s, the capacity does go up. So it went up from 12.08 to 12.16 gigabytes, so 80 more megabytes added for your storage pleasure. And the card view when invoking lookup has slightly been tweaked, so it's a little bit more boxy now. In the emoji keyboard, some of the emojis, the new ones, have been tweaked. In particular, the turban guy right here, his turban is now standard white. So if we go ahead and select it, you'll see there's no more red turban. That has been replaced. When setting an alarm in the clock app, you now have an option to have no sound at all. A bit redundant, don't understand why that would be an option, but you can go ahead and wake up with no sound whatsoever in your alarm. In the home application, if we go ahead and try and customize it, and choose a new wallpaper, there is a new wallpaper that replaces the old one. So it's some clay pots or something like that. Very interesting. In iOS 10 Beta 5 on the iPads, choosing the wallpaper has a new interface, and I'm not sure if this is a bug, really. I'm not entirely sure about this, but it's much bigger. I can't seem to go to left or right, so this is what it looks like in Beta 4 right here. So whether feature or bug, that is a change. iOS 10 Beta 5 fixes an issue where if you were to disable the keyboard clicks and you want to go ahead and use your keyboard, it still has clicks. So for the space, the backspace, and shift keys, now that's no longer the case. So it's been fixed since. iOS 10 Beta 5 will completely reprocess all of your facial recognition data. It must be an algorithm change or something like that, because Apple is forgetting everybody from Beta 4 and going to reprocess it entirely. The smart battery case will now properly work with iOS 10 Beta 5. So previously there was an issue that it would cause some devices to panic. That's no longer the case with Beta 5. It will work as intended. And the Swift Playgrounds app on iPad is now split up into 2 sections. So instead of having new content, it's simply been rearranged into 2 separate courses entirely. Some people are reporting incorrectly that there's a bunch of new stuff, but that's not the case. People are saying there's nothing new, it's just been split up into 2. And there are 2 other features that are not new to this beta, but I wanted to show you them because I never have before. Did you guys know that if you actually backspace and 3D touch on the backspace, it'll go much faster? And that's something so cool that I just found out the other day about iOS 10. And depending on the wallpaper which you have with the 3D touch device, if you go ahead and 3D touch on the clock icon right here, the background will be reflectant of your wallpaper. So in this case, this one is green, so I have a greenish background. This one is now purple thanks to that purple iOS 8 background. So yeah guys, there it is, iOS 10 Beta 5, the smallest of every single update now, but Apple is starting to slow down here with features. Instead, they're just refining it and get it ready to roll. So we should be seeing a public beta here very soon. I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 more betas, which I'll try to cover, but yeah guys, there it is, 20 plus new features in this latest Beta 5, well, features and changes. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching, have a great day, peace.